Okay, how we doing, folks? Today is Monday, October 30th, 2017. Rich Van Tassel giving you our weekly NBA report. We're still pretty early on in the season, but it's now 2 weeks in. We're starting to see at least some causes for concern, some trends that are taking place, some things that are coming up, but still, remember, it's early on. So we got to take things with a grain of salt. And you look at both conferences just at the top of each. You have Memphis #1 in the West and the Detroit Pistons #1 in the East. Now, Memphis is a quality professional team. I don't think they made enough additions in the offseason to help them offensively to keep them going. Or not to keep them going, but to really push them to the top. But this is a team that it shouldn't surprise you that they're winning games. Detroit, on the other hand, I liked bringing Avery Bradley in. Avery Bradley has always been a good player with the Celtics. He does a lot of things defensively, but it's a case where still I'm just not necessarily sold on Detroit being in that top four-ish spot. One of the teams that is going to challenge maybe the Celtics. Of course, the Celtics without Hayward, you'd have to see. But a situation where they'd be like the team like the Washingtons or the Torontos in that mix where they'd be playing in the second round, possibly pushing a team like a Boston, like a Cleveland, like a Washington in this, having a tough second round series against the Washington Wizards. So Avery Bradley at 15 points, as we said, that's basically what he's been averaging these past couple of years. But he's a very good defensive player, and he's really helped his offensive game. They don't have that. Tobias Harris is the one who's putting up the points. Tobias Harris, to me, is like a poor man's LeBron James. And when I say poor man's LeBron James, I mean he's on welfare LeBron James. I mean, similar style game, but, similar body type. But I don't want to even, give the impression I'm comparing the two. I'm just saying Tobias Harris, that's the style of play he has to me, is a guy who can drive, slash, and do those things. But he's not LeBron James. I don't want anyone to think that's the point I'm making. Boston has won 4 straight, that is, since the 0-2 start. Kyrie Irving, Al Horford getting the rapport together. That's nice. Of course, you have Chicago and Atlanta at the bottom. That's not surprising there. Cleveland still 3-4. It's early. They're also not have Isaiah Thomas, so they're just looking to tread water. Looking in the Western Conference, you have Sacramento, Dallas, Phoenix at the bottom. The Lakers struggling. That's a little bit of a surprise. Minnesota at 500. I'm really expecting more from this team this year. So let's see if they can finally get it going, as we start to progress into November. That's when you'll see, teams start to take form. The 3-3 doesn't concern me at this point in the season, but it's just something to keep an eye on as well. San Antonio's still doing what they do. You have the Clippers at 4-1. That's a little surprising to me because I feel they lost too much in Chris Paul, but they're getting the play that they need. You have Houston up there. James Harden, of course, averaging over 25 points. So his numbers, point-wise, have gone down. Of course, they're going to go down when you have Chris Paul. Still 9.6 assists, which are down from last year, but that's still very high. And, of course, you have Chris Paul on the team. So they appear to be getting it together there in Houston. Let's check Chris Paul's numbers real quick, assuming my computer doesn't give me any issue. Yeah, Chris Paul only averaging 4 points but 10 assists. So, are they going to get him involved more offensively? Maybe that's part of the game plan at first. I don't worry about Chris Paul scoring points. I can't believe Chris Paul only weighs 175 pounds. Sorry, that's just a quick side note. But those are the things to keep an eye on. So, you got a little bit of surprises up at the top with Detroit and the Memphis Grizzlies. The Celtics coming along. They've now won 4 straight since the 0-2 start. Cleveland, a little bit of cause for concern. The Western Conference basically taking most of the shape. But again, we're still only 2 weeks in. Now as we enter November, we'll see in the next couple weeks things really start to take form. All right, be sure to stay tuned for the Monday night recap when that game goes final, either tonight or tomorrow. We will give you that tomorrow morning. Remember, we appreciate all subscriptions. And as of right now, we're just going to be doing the weekly NBA reports until the NFL season ends. So we'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks. Thank you.